I need you to hate so I can use you for your energy.
This is Real Sales Talk. Real sales advice from real sales practitioners. Giving you tips on how to dominate your sales quota are your co-hosts, Sean Mitchell and Phil Keen.
We don't have a process for referrals at most companies. I go into a company, I say, what's your referral process? They have no, well, what do you mean?
I think that goes back to the premise of why do salespeople suck at prospecting? I mean, number one reason why they suck at prospecting is they don't actually do it.
If you are successful and nobody knows, in 2016, 20, 2025, you're not successful.
You ever want to find out what's going on in the company? Get in the car and spend a day with the top 3 salespeople. You'll find out in 5 minutes.
Because you can't be a trusted advisor without 2 things, trust and advice. I mean, you need both of them.
What's going on, everyone? It's Real Sales Talk, Sean and Phil. We're going live with TechTalk 020. We're on episode 20 of TechTalk. That's crazy, right?
It's fun. It's been good. It's every week trying to figure out something to talk about with you guys, and there's always something out there. New piece of tech, new book, new thing to go do to make your guys' business better. So hopefully you guys are enjoying TechTalk.
It's definitely been challenging me. Like I think for the better. It's made me keep a pulse on things that I come across and think, oh, that's a really cool tool. So I like that it's challenging me to think about things that I can then pass along to other people that may benefit them.
Yeah, and I think we're the cool thing about it, I feel like I'm trying to get really practical of how would I use this or have my team, my sales team use this from like a sales ops perspective or a sales user perspective of how would I consume this data and then give to other people so they can make themselves better. So I always out there for you guys, the Real Sales Talk family, trying to make this better for you guys. Got some good stuff today. So I can kick it off. I got a new book for all you that listen to the Trish Bertuzzi podcast, which is coming up pretty soon. We haven't launched it. Tomorrow we're going to launch it. It was a great one. We talked account-based revenue versus account-centric. And Trish got really deep, really tactical, and just spit a lot of gold about what actually is account-based and why you're probably not doing it right or you are doing it right. And definitely gave me ideas of how I would go execute against that at Octave as well as anywhere else if I were ever to try to educate people about what the difference is. So really good podcast. You guys be on the lookout for Trish Bertuzzi's podcast. But her son, Matt Bertuzzi, who's the sales operations, Salesforce admin guru behind all of it that makes the technology work. Well, Matt actually put out, he wrote a book. So I'm going to pub this up for him. It's actually on Amazon right now. But it will be technically it's out in about a month. So maybe we'll get Matt on here to talk to it for you guys. It's called Lightning Sales Ops, Building Salesforce for Sales Development Teams. Really awesome. So he reached out to 20 or so odd thought leaders and sales ops gurus around the Salesforce ecosystem to help put together and architect this book to be really tactical, really in the weeds. It's only $9.96. So if you are a Salesforce shop and you have SDRs, I highly recommend picking this one up. It just became available yesterday. Like I said, it technically launches in about a month, but great book dropping on. I'm going to have it. Hopefully I purchased it today. Hopefully I have it tomorrow. I'll start reading it, consuming it, and probably drop a lot of that knowledge on you guys as well. There's not even any reviews on it yet. So if you guys don't know Matt, he also has a really good podcast. You guys should check out as well. Let me see if I can find that podcast for you guys. Well, I forgot the name of it, but it's a good one. All right, I should have stopped share my screen so you guys stop looking at Sean's mug while I'm talking. So yeah, really awesome book for anybody that does have an SDR team in the Salesforce ecosystem. And even if you don't, I still think there's ideas and fundamentals you might be able to architect inside of a different CRM system. And for $10, I think it's a hell of a pickup.
Are you a physical book reader, or do you prefer audio book, or none of the above?
I am a physical book reader. Actually, I'm audiobook first, but I like physical books if I was going to have a book because I like to dog ear and highlight and cross things off and tear pages out, all that stuff. So there's things that are just awesome. You have to consume, have to get. I will like take a picture on my phone and send it to my Evernote and alert myself to go back and reread that stuff. So especially with business books, I think with other, like with fictional books, I could consume it however, but for nonfiction, it's definitely, I want the physical copy so I can beat it up and read it and dog ear it and hand it to somebody else and make them read the page that I just wrote. So I don't know where your thoughts are with books. So
at this point in life, it's audiobook. I know that if I get a physical book or someone gives it to me, it's going to collect a little bit of dust, just because it's just a season of life that I'm in where I'm not often sitting down and had a lot of leisure. So what I've been doing is I've been chipping away at books through audio form while I'm in the car going to and from places. Like I actually just bought an audiobook today, and I know it's an oldie, but I listened to this podcast over the weekend from Tim Ferriss, where he interviews this guy that I'd never heard of, but he's from he's from the Denver-ish area, Mr. Money Mustache. Have you heard of this guy?
I've not.
He's like this money guru, and he lives in the Boulder area. And anyways, this guy talked about his he retired like in his 30s from working, and his whole kind of premise, his whole philosophy is to basically not spend more than what you make, but also spend significantly less by hacking away at these different areas of spending. Anyways, like spending and saving is just top of mind, and I don't know what prompted it today, but I'm like, I'm going to download Dave Ramsey's Money Makeover thing. And anyway, so I've been listening to that today. I'm like maybe 45 minutes, an hour through that book. And I'm not particularly crazy about Dave Ramsey, but after listening to this Mr. Money Mustache guy, it just got me curious about, trying to maximize some finances, some of my finances. So anyways, there's a bonus tech tip tool for you all.
Curious, how do you consume books? So I've always been in the camp of I get a book and I'll read it through, and then I'll reread the chapters I want, and then I'll actually go back and reread the entire book again. And that's how I've always consumed books. Like, how do you consume? Do you just consume it once and then kind of toss it to the side, or how do you consume?
Depends on
books?
how good it is. Late last year, I listened to the audio of Elon Musk's biography. And that one I intend on listening to again, because I wanted to get that book done before the end of last year. And so, I had it on like a time and a half or two times the speed, listening to the audio. And I'd like to go back again because it was incredibly inspiring, and I'd like to just refresh my mind on some of those points. So one of my goals last year was to write a blog post a week. And I was doing that pretty solidly until things got really, really busy, probably midway through the year. But having that goal of writing a blog post a week helped with me going back through the books that I had read and kind of pulling out some of the takeaways to just share as a practice. So I like that habit, actually, and I'd like to get back into it. And I think I'll have some more time here as I've got a little bit more autonomy with this upcoming career change.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be I'd love to see it happen. I tried it before as well to get a blog post a week, and I was pretty consistent. It's really hard to stay consistent at writing a blog post, but I think when I originally started writing a blog post a week, it was purely just let's go write whatever I possibly can about whatever I want to go write, and just be really honest about what I'm doing. So it was cool.
Yeah.
So what do you got? What do you got today, Sean?
So I'm going to be talking about something that I came across when I don't think I've updated everyone on this. So for those that have been following along the last couple of episodes, I've moved on from real space and had been considering getting into real estate. Well, I met with a couple of really fantastic real estate teams and decided on one last Thursday. Signed an agreement with this team to work exclusively for them. And one of the things they had me do prior to signing the contract to give them an idea about my personality and how I'm wired is personalities, I guess, a strengths test, personality test. Maybe it's both, but it's called the disc profile test. And if you're familiar with this, then this is going to make a lot of sense to you. But essentially, it was a test or a series of questions that I answered that gave this real estate team an idea about how my strengths and weaknesses, really. And I want to recommend this to everyone who listens to our podcast, because being self-aware, knowing where you're strong and where you're weak at is really key, right? If you subscribe to Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a big fan of focusing on the strengths and minimizing the weaknesses, or delegating weaknesses. And in order to focus on your strengths, you have to know what they are. And a disc profile is one of those ways that you can do that. So let me see here if I can share a little bit of the results from my test. Let's see. Let me go here. Okay, so here is perfect. Okay. So it's broken down into 4 categories. DISC is an acronym standing for D is for decisive, I for interactive, S for stabilizing, and C for cautious. So you've got high level and low level of each of those categories. And to give you an idea about some of these, a high D would be driving, forceful, daring. A low D would be unobtrusive, agreeable, mild. A high I would be gregarious, persuasive, inspiring. A low I would be aloof, withdrawn, matter of fact. High S would be predictable, passive, complacent. Low S would be impetuous, spontaneous, active. High C is cautious, perfectionist, systematic. Low C, defiant, careless, rebellious, and then there's some in between. So if you see my results, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. Kind of looks like a kite. I'm on the higher end of being decisive, and then the stabilizing was the other one that I had kind of higher than average. My C is sitting a little bit above higher than average, but and then C, cautious. You can see I just throw caution to the wind pretty often. I'm daring and certainly question the status quo. So I thought it was insightful, and it's actually a really comprehensive result. So it gives you some of the benefits of those different areas, and some of the ways that you can, some of the pitfalls, so you can be aware of those. So really insightful, really interesting. I'd recommend everyone that has never done one of these tests to do it, because not only is it informative to help you know what strengths you can focus on, but it's also free. So the only thing that's going to cost you is maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think a really good thing to note on this. So I actually went through a training for a similar test. It was like a 3-day course for HR professionals, and somehow I got roped into doing it. But it was predictive index, which is similar to DISC, very similar in terms of what it does. A couple things to note. So emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence, like just how smart you are, or how emotional intelligent you are, will affect how this scores out. Or you can also affect how these things will actually matter. So these are really drivers, and it says, well, this is what drives you. So you might be smart enough to outsmart the system, or you might be smart enough to outwork some of the things, or work around some problems that don't drive you, or things that frustrate you, because you're emotionally intelligent to handle it. So if your EQ or your IQ is high enough, it just doesn't, it does matter. But then maybe you take a step back and you look at it and really look at yourself and see, is this what drives me or not? And maybe you've been doing things wrong, or maybe that explains why you are not successful today. And maybe you're an analytical person, but you only treat yourself like a direct, just go-getter type person. Maybe that's why you're exhausted. I mean, that's a lot of what these tests can do. And give you is just a different lens to look at things. And it might be the first time. I remember the first time I saw my PI test, predictive index test. I was like, oh, that's why I do the things I do. And I think that's why you have to go back and look at DISC or predictive index or whatever it is that you use from a profile perspective. So it's super valuable once you see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess this real estate team liked what they saw. I mean, there were no surprises when I looked through it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. Yep, that's exactly what I thought. Or because it's been a long time since I've taken one of those. I took one maybe 15 years ago, and I bet I'd like to try and dig that one up and see what's changed, because I know that as far as the decisive aspect, scoring that high is definitely developed professionally over time. Naturally, I'm not as decisive, so a lot of these things can change. So if you have taken one a long time ago, or if you haven't taken one in a while, you might take it again and just kind of see what's changed, what's evolved.
I think that's exactly the point. Like, I think if you look at it, like what drives you might still actually be fundamentally the same. It's because you've gotten so smart and adjusted to the times in business and where you're at and the people that surround you and all the other factors outside of you is really where it changes what you feel, your perception of what other people want of you. And that also goes in not having the appropriate things surrounding you, the right people surrounding you, the types of people that surround you, the right, everything that your process could actually make you tired. So if you feel like you're pushing too hard to not be yourself, that's something that doesn't drive you every single day. Like, those are things to factor in. It's why you might leave a job. It's why you might go to change the team that surrounds you. It's that kind of stuff that you might be able to start factoring in. So it's interesting. The profiles are great, and hopefully everybody gets the aha moment when they take it.
Totally. Absolutely. I know you mentioned the Trish Bertuzzi conversation that comes out here in probably 24 hours-ish or so. I also published last night our conversation with Nadia Rashid from Marketo. So that was actually a good one. There was a part of the conversation where I had to duck out towards the end. So I listened to some of the remainder of that conversation that you carried on. But I thought there were some good takeaways from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Nadia is incredibly insightful. We've had some pretty good guests. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If you are, follow us on YouTube, get us on there. Also, go leave some reviews on iTunes. We appreciate those. And everybody that's caught up on iTunes, I told you I'd tell you what Matt Bertuzzi's podcast is. So he has a group of people. It's called One of These Things is the name of the podcast. So it's a great way for you to think of the technical architecting behind. It's really for Salesforce ecosystem. But anyway, it's in the sales ops role. You might love the content they put out there. And they do some fun stuff, but they also do some technical in the weed stuff as well. So One of These Things is the name of the podcast for you guys. And we'll link that up to everybody to consume as well.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And until next time. Talk to you later.